Wait till.
Start with dance, please.
Welcome to One Heart, One Mind, and we're going to have the Levens start us off.
Good morning, everybody.
We know we're speaking a lot about the body today, so we selected this song for you. There's a part in here that's just ooze, that you can just join us. We do repeat it, so you can sing along with us whenever you catch on. And this is actually a song from our friend Dan Nichols. It's just a lovely way to get us into the beautiful service that's ahead.
Thank you for my life, body and soul. Help me realize I'm beautiful and whole. I'm perfect the way I am, and a little broken too. I will live each day as a gift I give to you. Whoa. And whole. I'm perfect the way I am, and a little broken too. I will live each day as a gift I give to you. I will live each day as a gift I give to you. Whoa. Whoa.
Oh, that was beautiful. I love the line where you say, and a little broken too. You know, you want to acknowledge it.
That's the crux of it.
That's right. Can't
So
pretend we're perfect there.
I love it. And I want to invite our practitioner of the day, Robert Brown, to do our invocation for us. Good morning, Robert.
Good morning. Good morning, everyone. And Michelle, I intended to come to the picnic yesterday, and I just totally forgot it.
Oh, that's too bad. Well, you know what? We'll have to do it again then, I guess.
Yeah, guess so.
It was a lot of fun. You would have enjoyed it. We'll do it again.
So anyway, let's all close our eyes, relax, breathe deeply, breathe in spirit, breathe in spirit's love. Know with me that there is only one spirit, only one presence, only one power in this universe and in our lives. I commune with that presence each and every moment. and I use the power to bring good into my life and to the lives of those for whom I pray. I give great thanks for this opportunity once again to come together in consciousness, in fellowship, in love, and in joy to celebrate this Sunday. And I give thanks for my father and for all of the fathers as we celebrate this Father's Day. I know that this is a loving, progressive, inclusive, spiritual community of which I am proud to be a member. And I am proud that all of you are members. And I give great thanks for this. I give great thanks for this love that we share, this consciousness that we share. And I release my words into the law, knowing that they are acted upon as spoken. And together we signify our agreement by saying together, and
So it is.
And the quote of the day is from Living the Science of Mind, page 257. Man is spirit, soul, and body. To try to live in the physical organism without the mind is impossible. To try to live on intellectual thoughts without feeling is equally impossible. But not to realize that even the mind, wonderful as it is dependent upon something greater than itself, is disastrous. For if many of our physical troubles are the result of an inward emotional conflict based on a sense of inadequacy or defeat, and an unconscious feeling of guilt and rejection, then nothing is more certain than that the mind and the feeling must have the assurance of a power greater than themselves, governing, guiding, and enveloping. Let's take a moment of silence, maybe even a minute of silence, to contemplate and to focus on that assurance that there is a power greater than himself, that there is a power that is guiding and enveloping us, that is governing our lives, that is spreading love into our lives, and is reaping joy from our existence. Let's know that power within. Let's identify with it. Let's have faith in it. And I invite you to come back into the room, into the Zoom room, and say with me the June's affirmation, after which we'll enjoy some more lovely music from the Levins. My body is a temple of the living spirit. It is spiritual substance. The Supreme Being, ever present, exists at the very center of my thoughts, feelings, and actions. This presence within me has the power to make all things new. So it is.
Thank you, Robert. That was lovely.
We were going to switch songs till we read Ernest Holmes' quote, and that
Sometimes it's nice to know that the course that you have chosen is actually the right one. It's so isolating to ride upon this cycle with the fear of being idle, with my anger on parade, and saying that I have no time. I limit my lucidity, become an addict to validity. I take myself out of my prime. I have time. I have time. And I step out of the story, then I get the chance to see there's a bigger picture here, something more for me. I am here and I am needed. I will stand up and be greeted by what comes my way. I will fill my day with love, with love, with love, with love, with love, with love. Always justifying my existence, always chained to my reactions. In a moment of resistance, I might get some satisfaction. And saying that there's not enough, I'm holding on to scarcity, clinging to adversity, as if I've got it rough. I have enough. I am enough. If I step out of the story, then I get the chance to see there's a bigger picture here, something more than me. I am here and I am needed. I will stand up and be greeted by what comes my way. I will fill my day with love, 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 with love. I am here and I am needed. I will stand up and be greeted. I am here and I am needed. I will stand up and be greeted. I am here and I am needed. I will stand up and be greeted. I am here and I am needed. I will stand up and be greeted. I am here, I am needed. I will stand up and be greeted. I am here, I am needed. I will stand up and be greeted with love, with love, with love. I will stand up and be greeted with love, with love, with love. I will stand up and be greeted with love, 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 with love.
Beautiful message. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I am here and I am needed. Boy, that really does go along with our talk for today. That's a beautiful way to kick us off. Thank you so much.
Yay.
Beautiful. So good morning and welcome to One Heart, One Mind Center for Spiritual Living's online Sunday service. And happy Father's Day. And I know I said on Mother's Day to all our mothers, happy Father's Day to everyone who has ever fathered anyone or anything, you know, whether it's four-legged or it's got wings or fins or whatever. Happy Father's Day to anyone who has ever fathered anything. And we especially lift our hearts in gratitude and appreciation on Father's Day for anyone who has filled that role for us of father, you know. So I'm going to invite you just right now to take in a nice deep breath and draw into your conscious mind whoever fathered you, your biological father, your adoptive father, a mentor that played that role for you. And just take a moment and just feel gratitude for that person. You can even say their name out loud if you feel like it. Just a moment of gratitude. Important to recognize and to honor and to show gratitude to the people who've cared for us and supported us and loved us as fathers, you know, even if they're no longer here with us on planet Earth, like my father. And I also believe Father's Day gives us this incredible opportunity to honor the idea, the principle of the divine masculine. You know, the divine masculine expresses itself as self-conscious, self-propelling power, you know, the spirit of creation. And it's in and through and as all of creation. It's that energy, you know, that guides and protects everything under its care. And that divine masculine principle is in all of us. It's within each of us, regardless of our gender. In Science of Mind, we teach that both the divine masculine and the divine feminine are present within God, Spirit, the universal parent of everything. And as human beings, as expressions of this divine parent, we too have within us the qualities of both the divine masculine and the divine feminine. And we too are the parents of what we create in our oneness with this universal presence, you know, in our participation with the natural law of this presence. We create our own lives and our own experiences through our thoughts and our feelings and our beliefs. And we talk about that a lot, how that is, that's the process. What we think and feel and who we are, who we believe we are, is what we create from. And so far this month, we've talked about the magnificence of our human bodies and how well designed they are to be expressions of this one life of God. And last week I shared something from Neil deGrasse Tyson, the astrophysicist, about how we're not only one with all of creation because we share the same source, but we are literally made out of the same materials. We are literally born from star stuff. You know, Tyson told us that we are not just in the universe, but the universe is in us. And I don't know about you, but that makes me feel like I really belong. I'm really cut from the same cloth, made from the same materials, you know, and then I'm connected to everything. And it kind of brings this feeling of family and reverence for all of creation. And that includes everything, you know, from atoms to galaxies. Our founder, Ernest Holmes, which we talk about a lot, he said this. I'm going to say it slowly because it's got some big words. The individualization of the universal comes to a point in the personal, just as the human body is one with the entire physical universe. So just as we are one with the physical universe, because we're made out of star stuff, We're one with the universal, the one presence, because we're using the same mind. We're in the same consciousness. There's only one mind. And today, I'd like to dig a little bit deeper and be a little bit more specific and focus on how our human bodies are these incredible vehicles for expressing our oneness with spirit. And not only are they just exquisitely designed to help us survive on planet Earth, but they are just as perfectly designed to bring the wholeness, the good, and the joy of God into form and into our lives. You know, what a marvel our human bodies are. Ernest Holmes again. We always go to the master. He wrote, physical form is real. And if it were not for form, I'm going to say that again, physical form is real. And if it were not for form, God or intelligence could not be expressed. Magnificent vehicle our human bodies are for expressing divine intelligence through us and as us, in our human bodies. Where our human bodies are not only a vehicle, but they themselves are an expression of this divine source. So we've talked about our unity with God, the source of everything, as the cause, the first cause of all things that are in form. And we've talked about how the expression of this cause is the body or the effect. Ernest Holmes called it the manifest body of God. And today I'd like to turn our attention to the natural law that makes it possible for God or cause to express itself as an effect or a body. In science of mind, we call this action law, creative law. And it is the natural creative law by which the invisible becomes visible. And we know that science, specifically quantum physics, is beginning to understand how this process actually works on a quantum level. How cool is that? It turns out that the matter that makes up creation is not actually solid at all. It's this endless dance of vibrating energy that has kind of a dual personality. It can be waves of potential, or it can be particles that make up matter. And observing a wave of potential causes it to collapse into a particle. So science is showing us a universe that is constantly emerging and evolving and changing, and is showing up in the importance of particles and this invisible world becoming form, and how that's so important for life, for everything, and how connected we are. Is showing us the importance of us as observers or consciousness and how we fit into this creative process. I love that we aren't just bystanders, that we are actually involved in making things happen. And in metaphysics, we call this process the natural creative law. Holmes called it mind in action. And it's the way that the potential, the infinite possibilities within universal mind make their way into physical forms. Holmes said that the true meaning of the metaphysical teaching is the study of life and the nature of law. He talked a lot about love, the nature of life, God's spirit, and law, and how the two work together. And he says that this law is governed or directed by thought. So then a wave of potential exists in the field of the universal mind. It takes an observer, a consciousness, God, you, me, to collapse this potential into form or experience and to demonstrate a potential idea into physical form. You know, one last Holmes quote. Holmes wrote, "The law that is within you is both universal and individual. Since your mind is some part of the mind of God, there is a place within where you are universal, where you use this universal power. The power is law." I love that. The power is law. since we are both human and divine, right where we are, in the place where God knows itself in form, in the science of mind teaching, we often use Jesus as the great example of this, human and divine, of God being right where we are. And we often say that Jesus was the only begotten Son of God. Well, in Science of Mind and New Thought, we say that we are all the only begotten sons and daughters of this one mind. Phineas Quimby, who's often called the father of New Thought, said that in his healing work, he used the mind that was in Jesus the Christ. And that mind is also in us. We're all God expressed as mankind, the divine made human. And as such, we not only share the same mind, but the same nature. And our part is discover how to use that nature, to use creative law consciously. We're always using it, whether we're aware of it or not, but to use it consciously is our focus here. As metaphysicians, that's what we look at, is how can I consciously participate with this natural law to express my divinity in a way that it not only benefits me, but all of humanity. How will I direct the divine to move through me in my human life? That's what our part is. And I'm sure you've noticed that when you do something over and over again, this is how our human body is involved, it gets easier and easier to do. My son was helping me cook the other day, my youngest son, Abraham, and he was chopping things up. And he was doing it very awkwardly. And so I said, here, let me show you the best way to chop. And I showed him how to rock the knife in an easy, gentle motion, not even picking up the tip of the knife. And he did it for a few minutes. And by the time he finished chopping, he looked like a pro. His body was learning to do it, and it was remembering. For our bodies, repetition is what builds our neural pathways and creates habits. I know when I was teaching, I used to always say repetition is magic. When we do something over and over again, we build neural pathways and our body remembers it. And that is part of how our body is involved in using creative law. Often when I garden, I water, actually. I go out and I hand water a lot. And I always listen to audible books or something on tape, whatever it is. And lately I've been listening to our spiritual economics while I water, because Relaine and I are teaching this spiritual economics class. And yesterday I went out to water and I wasn't listening to anything. I didn't even have my headphones in. And my mind immediately went straight to what I'd been listening before in the spiritual economics book, in the audible book. My mind and my body remembered. They made that connection between watering and spiritual economics. How many times have you heard a song on the radio and it threw you emotionally right back to where you were when you heard that song, when something important happened to you in your life, at your wedding, or, your first kiss, or what? That music throws you right back because your body remembers it. And that memory is connected to those old neural pathways that just begin to play. It's a pattern. Our body remembers, and we build patterns around these memories. Our bodies are really incredibly amazing, the way that they work. And as metaphysicians, our patterns of thinking and feeling can reveal a lot to us. Patterns draw our attention to the fact that often we respond less to what's actually going on in the moment and more to our assumptions about what's going on in the moment. Assumptions that are based on our previous experiences and our beliefs that we've internalized. We respond through our personal lens of perceptions, things that we've learned and enculturated and become habitual for us. And that means that we're probably using the law in an unconscious way most of the time, based on these patterns of thinking and feeling and being. And I've noticed that just by becoming aware of my patterns, aware of what I'm thinking and feeling, that can tell me a lot about what I truly believe, what beliefs I have hidden away in my subconscious mind. You know, and once I become aware of my patterns, once we become aware of our patterns, we can set about changing them. Lisa Lazaro, one of our practitioners, calls this pattern interruptus. I love that. So we can practice pattern interruptus. Like, for example, say, well, I'll give you a personal example from my own life. I was going to tell you a story, but I'll give you a personal example. When I was in Florida with my Catholic sisters in March, you know, they were all going to Sunday Mass. Well, both of them were going to, it was Palm Sunday, I believe, and they were going to go to Mass. And they asked if I wanted to go. And when they asked me if I wanted to go, I immediately had felt kind of a catch in my chest because I grew up Catholic and it was never a particularly enjoyable experience for me. And so my first response was not necessarily a positive one, which was for me wonderful because I thought I had healed that or released all those old feelings about Catholicism and you know, the less than thing. I thought I'd let that all go. And I discovered when that feeling popped up for me that that old pattern is still alive in me. And it gave me the opportunity to revisit it, to tell the truth about it and to heal it. Our patterns can tell us what we really believe, and then they can empower us to change. You know, and I've said this to you before, but I'm a big proponent of asking ourselves empowering questions as a spiritual practice to figure out what we really believe. So I put together a few questions to ask ourselves. Let me read, I'm going to read them. I should have gotten this out before. Sorry about that. Questions to just help us recognize what patterns we're really holding. So how about this? How do you react when someone asks you to do something that you really don't want to do? Does that bring up an old pattern in you? How do you feel when somebody asks you, if you're anything like me or a people pleaser and you immediately want to just do it, even if you don't really want to do it? Old pattern. Or how about this? When you meet someone new, what do you tell yourself about the chances of you having anything in common or becoming friends? Do you immediately think, oh, we probably aren't going to find any common ground? What old pattern does that bring up? Or when you, if someone is rude to you or doesn't return your call, what assumption do you make? I write great stories about why people don't call me. Well, blah, blah, blah. I don't know if you do the same thing. How about, what do you tell yourself when you know you have a conversation? You know you have to, oh, this is a good one actually. What do you tell yourself when you know you have to have a conversation that might be difficult, that has the potential for being difficult? And what do you tell yourself before you have that conversation? Do you think about how well it's going to go, or do you tell yourself, or do you feel like, oh no? And finally, when you're trying something new, something that is a real stretch for you, what do you tell yourself about your chances of success? Or here's the last one. I really love this one too. Are you surprised when things go really well? You know, because wow, it tells you about what pattern that you're not really expecting things to go really well. These questions, these empowering questions, can lead us to what our typical patterns are. And once we recognize a pattern, it loses its power over us. And once we see that a pattern of behavior isn't serving us, it makes a lot of sense to change it. You know, I'm a baker. I like to bake, and I have my favorite recipes. Some that my family really enjoys. And I've learned not to change a recipe that works well, but to stick with it. But if I make something that doesn't turn out well, I either never make it again or I change the recipe. If we have a pattern that we keep repeating and it's obviously destructive, we can change it. We are empowered to change it simply by recognizing it as the first step. Or we can stop it altogether and never bake it again. You know, I'm a big proponent of never baking those ideas again, never creating those things that just aren't serving us. So, you know, how do we do that? How do we shift into creating new patterns and creating new ways of being? So just imagine that you're starting some new venture, a project of some sort. You know, you're going on vacation, or you're ending a job or starting a job. Maybe you're retiring. Maybe you're working on a collaborative project with someone, whatever it is. Imagine looking ahead. And I did this in the meditation today. Imagine looking ahead and seeing and feeling what success for this project or venture would look like. What if you picture a positive outcome in your mind? What if you see it as successful, feel it as successful, spend time in the energy of a successful result? You're establishing a new pattern in your mind, in your heart, and your body for success when you do this. You know, identify the qualities that you want to embody for this new project. Be visionary and focused and disciplined and open to new ideas that come along, because whenever you start envisioning the success for something, new ideas pop in. You're opening yourself to all of the possibilities that are available in divine mind. And this is creating a new pattern. You know, we build neural pathways. We create new feelings based on those thoughts in our neural pathways. We embody those feelings and we build on that. We create a new pattern. Love that. Manifestation, demonstration, we often call it, is turning potentiality into actuality. It's turning the unknown into the known, the unseen into the visible. It's not magic. It's simply working with a natural law to shape and fill our lives according to our desires. And establishing positive patterns of thinking and feeling and being supports this process. There's power here. You know, in New Thought, we often talk about getting into the flow of life. And I think that's a pretty good analogy. You know, it's like the flow of electricity. You know, we participate with the law of electricity every day. And we never question it. We have faith in it. I expect the electricity to flow through the wires when I flip on the switch. And the electricity doesn't care if I've been a good person that day. It doesn't judge whether or not the user deserves the electricity. It just knows how to do what electricity does, just like the law knows how to do what the law does. Electricity flows its current and its power wherever it's directed, and so does the law. But if there's too much resistance in the wires, it stops flowing. And our job is to look at what in our lives is causing resistance. What patterns have we internalized and our bodies memorized that are causing resistance? And once we identify them, we can change the pattern. Yes, it takes dedication and commitment to constantly be aware of, oh, there's that pattern again, and being aware and falling into a new way of thinking. But it's just a spiritual practice. Awareness is just a spiritual practice. And it's possible. And as metaphysicians, that's what we're called to do. And another thing to understand about creative law, and I think this is important, is that demonstrating things in our lives is way more than just acquiring something. It's not about the stuff. We don't just create something out of nothing either. Everything we want to demonstrate in our lives already exists in potential in divine mind, just like that quantum field, waves of potential. And our job is to observe the wave that we want to bring into our lives. Everything already exists, which really makes it more a matter of aligning with that which we want to demonstrate, creating a relationship with it, than creating the thing. It's not about acquisition, it's about alignment. What does the spirit of my success feel like, look like? Do you see what I'm saying? Demonstration or manifestation is the drawing forth into actuality, the spirit and the potential on the essence of whatever we'd like to bring into our lives. And manifestation deals more than just with the things we want to demonstrate. It begins in a recognition that we live in this ocean, this consciousness of unformed substance. The divine, I know we've been talking a lot about that in our spiritual economics class, that we live within unformed divine substance, and we're empowered to shape it. You know, Ernest Holmes' message in Science of Mind is always that creative law is much more about attraction than acquisition. It's about consciously embodying the spirit or the resonance of what we want to demonstrate. You know, if you want to demonstrate health, then we internally embody vitality. And what does it feel like to be healthy? If we want to demonstrate prosperity, we become prosperous internally. We develop a consciousness of prosperity, and it can't help but demonstrate in our lives. When we co-create something with the divine presence, we participate with life. You know, it's not this solitary experience. You know, patterns and energies everywhere are influenced. You know, they're graced and blessed by what we hold, by what we create, by what we do with this creative process. We're not alone. When we consciously use creative law, we're sending out ripples into life that touch everyone and everything. We're all connected. Remember, we're made out of star stuff, and we all share the same mind. Now, the creative process isn't just our little selves trying to think positively and make something happy. It's it's this power and this grace of God, of spirit at work in our lives and in all lives, in life itself. So this week, I invite you to watch for your own patterns. You know, if you start to feel uncomfortable, stop and check in with yourself. Why do I feel this way? Feelings are these great navigators, you know, and once you notice a pattern that serves you, reinforce it. If it doesn't, just become aware of it and let it go. That takes away all the power. So I just invite you to see yourself as a participating partner with, as Holmes called it, love, the presence of the divine, and law, the creative action of law. You know, open yourself up to the flow of the divinity that wants to move through your human life. Cast a vision. I love that idea of casting a vision of what your life, what you want your life to look like before you. And then everything you do will be in service to that vision that you cast. So let's do that right now. Let's just take a moment and cast a vision with our prayer. So taking a nice deep centering breath in, anchoring ourselves in the feeling, the field of God, spirit, the all that is, the divine parent, the masculine, the feminine energy of life that creates everything, that creates us, that we are one with. And I speak my word right here and right now within this divine, juicy, creative field of love and energy, that there is a shift in consciousness for each and every person on this call, for each and every person that is not, that there is an opening, that the wires are open and their free flow of the electrical energy of the divine good is moving through us effortlessly. And that whatever we want to create and experience and demonstrate in our life, we are becoming that now. We feel the presence of love. We feel the presence of health as vitality. We feel the abundance as prosperity and prospering in all areas and all things of our life. We feel our work in the world being supported by all of the human activity around us. We feel the activity of life and the flow of life moving through us and the good demonstrating in every way. And I'm just so thankful for this. I'm so grateful for this opportunity to be a human being and to channel the divine presence that is within me into my life and all the lives I touch. Thank you, God, for this opportunity. Thank you, Spirit, for the power to bring it into form. Oh, so I just relax in knowing that all is well, and that as I speak these words, they are making their way into form. And I invite you to signify your agreement by saying with me, and so it is. And so it is. Oh, all right. Well, I'm going to take a deep breath because that was a lot of words. And let's see. I believe it is Relaine who is doing our moment of conscious giving today. So I'm going to invite her to do that.
All right, thank you, Michelle. So this is a time of giving, and it's really giving to one heart, one mind, and giving and receiving are really one motion, one movement. And as we give, we receive, and as we receive, we give. And by giving to one heart, one mind, it's a reminder of how we can deepen our giving and receiving consciousness. And so it really is a time to feel our abundance. And Eric Butterworth speaks about this in the Spiritual Economics book by saying that affluence really means abundant flow. And so it's a wonderful time to just, as Reverend Michelle's speaking about, to center and align ourselves with that divine flow of giving and receiving. So I invite you to give to One Heart, One Mind in a couple ways. You can Venmo at One Heart, One Mind Center. And you can also send a check to Treasurer Jim Massapus, and his address is usually in the chat room. And now I'd like to say a little affirmation here about sacred giving. I recognize that all supply flows from the divine, givingness of spirit. My gift is a continuation of this divine flow. I give and receive from this infinite supply, and I give in faith and love and in joy, and it always flows back to me in kind, and so it is.
And so it is. Thank you, Relaine. I'll call on you in a minute to do the benediction, but right now, Yvonne's going to give us some announcements.
Oh boy. Monday from 6 to 6:20 on Zoom, we have a prayer circle that comes together to specifically pray for One Heart, One Mind Center. Ernest Holmes says in Science of Mind, the conscious commingling of our thought with spirit is essential to the well-being of every part of us. So I'm inviting you to please join us to commingle our prayers and see how great it makes you feel, and how wonderful things what wonderful things we'll experience for our center. Tuesday evening, we have a continuation of our spiritual learning circle from 6 to 7, and it's facilitated by Reverend Michelle and Practitioner Relaine. And we're continuing our study of Eric Butterworth's book, Spiritual Economics. And this week we'll be discussing chapter 4, If You Can Believe, it's called. And the study of this wonderful book really supports and explains what causes unscheduled income programs to work. Pretty good, pretty darn good book. On Thursday from 6 to 7, 6 to 7:30, we have the pleasure of Rabbi David Zaslow from Havara Shir Hadash Synagogue. Are you impressed? I am. I don't speak much of Hebrew. In Ashland, Oregon, speak to us about the relationship between time and space, between the creation and the creator, and even our perception of God. We are really privileged to have him speak to us. He's an author, a musician, a teacher, and a rabbi, and a heck of a nice guy. Sorry, I give myself the giggles. Let's see, what did I say here? Please join us to hear him and invite others to join us. And we have to remember that if we want people to take advantage of this great stuff that we're offering, we need to let them know about it and invite people to come. The more people that we come, the easier it is for us to get these people to come. He is definitely worth hearing. So please come and get somebody else to come. You could even bring your cat or your dog. He would enjoy that. And then I have a note here that says, don't forget that our unexpected income program is still going. I think between Raylene and I, she is still the queen, but I'm coming up on her. So she's got to watch out for that, because I'm going to pass you up, Raylene. It's really fun, and it's a wonderful way to increase your knowledge of what abundance is and how your thinking affects it. So that's all I have.
Well, let me just give a little preview. This wasn't in the e-newsletter, but I just found out from Reverend Leslie yesterday that at her complex where she lives, we were approved to use the community room there, the community center they've got for our Bunko fundraiser, which we're going to do on July 16th. So, and I think it's from 2 to 5 or something. I don't know if you've ever played Bunko. When I first heard it, I thought, oh man, I don't want to play Bunko, but I've done it and it is fun. It is really, really fun. Every time I've gone, I've always had a great time. So I encourage you to put that on your calendar to save the date. Anyway, I just wanted to give you a heads up. Thanks, Yvonne, for all that good stuff. And Relaine, you want to give us our benediction, and then Ira and Julia can take us out with some more music.
Sure. Yeah, I just wanted to say that when Yvonne made the comment about bringing your cats and dogs to the classes, it made me think that when I went down to visit you, Reverend Michelle, with Jim some time ago at the other center, there were a lot of dogs in attendance at your service, and I thought, wow, that's so cool. You know, I wish I could ever do that. And now I sort of have that now with our cat and dog here sitting listening to you every Sunday. So it's really kind of neat. You never know, right? So I'm so grateful. And so let's just take a moment to close our eyes and feel the gratitude, the connection, the camaraderie, the friendship, the love, the caring, and the connection between each and every one of us. You know, we're divinely guided and led. And it's just so wonderful to have Quimby and Ernest Holmes and all those that have come before us, and to listen to Reverend Michelle's talk, which was really just so motivationally, spiritually uplifting. And to look at our patterns and the things that we may be doing to look for change, to move into that place of alignment with spirit in our fullest potential. So I'm just so grateful for the 11s and the music, for each and every one of you that are here, and for all those that came to the picnic, and for that joyful feeling of unity that we all are experiencing with the One Heart, One Mind community. So with gratitude and love, I release this prayer into divine law, knowing it is already so. And I simply say with all of you, and so it is.
And so it is. Thank you, Elaine. And thank you, Robert. And thank you, Ira and Julia and Yvonne and everybody who's here. And Ira and Julia are going to play for us.
Yay.
Well, that was just fantastic today, as it always is. So happy Juneteenth as well, everybody. Don't worry about a thing, because every little thing is gonna be all right. Yeah. Don't worry about a thing, because every little thing is gonna be all right. Yeah. Woke up this morning, I smiled at the rising
sun. Three little birds, yes, stood on my doorstep, singing sweet songs, melodies pure and true. This is my message to you, you. One love, talking about one heart. Let's get together and feel alright. One love, talking about one heart. Let's get together and feel alright. As it was in the beginning, one love. So it will be in the end, one heart. Let's get together and feel alright. Well, I give thanks and praise to the Lord, and I will feel alright. Let's get together and feel alright. Woo.
Woohoo!
Yeah.
I love that song.
It's one of those songs that you can just keep going and going and going and going. And then at one point in time, you have to look at each other and go, we should probably try to end it. Because it's just, it just feeds. It feeds. It's automatic manifestation right there.
Oh, that's great. I love it. Well, this was just a delightfully wonderful service. And so we're going to bring our recording to an end. And then we'll have a little chit chat for anybody that wants to share.